Getting blasted by some cold air. I just spoke to my business coach and she was sharing with me that they just lost power. So let me know where you are. And I am really hopeful that you are not losing power and the ability to heat your house. We're coming to YouTube today. You might be seeing this video in Facebook or one of the other social media places, but I would love it if you would join me on YouTube. We're going to start having regular chats about online income for therapists. I'll answer lots of questions here and would love to have you join. I already have some questions that have been submitted, so I thought might as well jump in and share some of those with you. Just going to check real quickly to make sure that we are broadcasting where we're supposed to be broadcasting, and then we'll jump right in. You can feel free to share any of your comments in the chat. The way that this technology is set up, and I'm trying out Restream.io, is that if you're on Facebook and you leave me a comment, I won't be able to see it here unless you follow the link that I have in the description just to give me permission to see your name. So I would love to be able to see who is dropping in the comments. So please do follow that link. If you're in YouTube, allegedly, I will see it magically somehow over here. I don't know how that works, but we'll see, right? We'll see. Okay, so I just want to check and make sure that all right. You don't need to hear the reverb. Okay, so I'm going to be answering questions about all sorts of online income for therapists. Of course, you probably know me from the online therapist group where I help therapists to build online therapy practices and also to learn how to market to self-pay clients, even across state lines or country lines. But I also teach people how to grow their lives by making more money per hour, which can include expanding beyond the therapy room. So today I'll be answering some questions that were submitted about online therapy in particular, and also talking a little bit about other ways of making money online, other details that you might need to know. So one of the big questions that came up recently in my step-by-step course, somebody was asking about registered agents, and they had received a piece of mail, very official looking, that said, hey, pay us like 250 bucks and we'll file your annual business report. And thank goodness this person asked about it. So here's a heads up. Many of you already know that if you're licensed in another state, it's very easy to be able to practice also in Florida. You can literally just Google the form. If you Google out-of-state telehealth provider Florida, you're going to get a very simple form. It's a low fee, and then voila, you can see clients here in Florida, even if you're licensed in another state. They ask you to do one kind of special thing called getting a registered agent, which is basically just saying like, hey, I'm doing business in Florida, and here is my registered agent saying I'm doing business in Florida. Here's how I have an address in Florida. But once you do that, once you're registered as a business in Florida, you have to file an annual business report. That sounds super fancy. It's a freaking worksheet. It's very easy to do. You could have your tax person do it the first time, and then you can just copy it every time after that, making the small changes that might be relevant. But what happens is there's a little bit of a scam that you could get sucked into, which is once you register as a business in Florida, it's public information. And so all these companies are going to send you very official looking letters that say your annual business report is due, your annual business report is due, pay us $500 to submit it for you. And they act like they are the body that accepts the payment, that they're the people that you're supposed to submit it to. And you get charged this extra fee for them to do the work for you. So if you want them to do the work for you, that's fine. It's just not how they put themselves out there. So beware. And you can actually do it yourself. You can go to sunbiz.gov, maybe sunbiz.org or sunbiz.gov, and it's SUNBIZ, and you can submit it yourself. And I think it's like 150 bucks. So you do have to submit it. You do not have to pay somebody to do it for you. And if you do pay someone to do it for you, you're going to pay extra, which is fine. But you should just know that that's an option. It's not a requirement. Okay. Somebody else is asking about the good faith estimate and if I have one. I do not. I chose not, to sell. I chose not to create one to sell. I have the informed consent. You can purchase that if you would like. It's only 97 bucks. It's super cheap. But I chose not to do the good faith estimate because right when that was coming out, the No Surprises Act was coming out, everybody was freaking out about what needed to be involved in it. And I knew that the cost of hiring multiple lawyers to help me create one that was going to be functional and work across all of our professional bodies is going to be more expensive for me than I could ever make any sort of profit off of. And I would also probably be in debt for it. When instead, you can just get it. There's an easy template. Every one of our professional bodies has released a template. So I would go directly to the American Psychological Association or the American Social Work. It's not association. I feel like it's a G. I could be wrong. Whatever. Go to your professional licensing body and get their templates. They have tons of money. They've spent it on lawyers. They're going to have one that's bulletproof. I would get it directly from your people. So good faith estimate. Yes, you do need it, but get it directly from your peeps. I don't think it's something you need to spend money on. I think we pay lots in dues to our professional organizations, so you might as well get their template that they have spent money getting taken care of and making sure that it's up to snuff. Okay, so online income streams. There are so many opportunities for therapists to make additional income outside of therapy. I want to be really frank about the process though, because you are going to hear a lot of people telling you can make so much money and you need to scale and there's a ceiling to how much you can make as a therapist and yada, yada, yada. Those things are true, but I think that there's a little bit of a I'm going to just gently call it a miscommunication. Misrepresentation is probably more accurate about how easy it is to make a lot of money in a side hustle. So is it easy to create a side hustle? It can be pretty easeful. Is it easy to make as much money as you can make in your therapy practice via a side hustle? No. So here's what I recommend for therapists who are looking to expand beyond therapy. What I like to see is that therapist being able to make not just their needed income, not just their wanted income, but creeping towards their dream income in their private practice via learning how to market to private pay clients. So you can have your sliding scale folks, you can have your pro bono folks, but your income is being covered by your private pay clients. Because here's the deal, you already know how to do therapy. You don't know how to do all of the pieces of side hustle, and there are a lot of moving pieces. So let's make your income in the way that you already know how to do. We add just one skill set instead of a bunch of skill sets, which is learning how to market. Get your revenue set, get your caseload small so that you have room to kind of engage in the learning curve of a side hustle, or room to just relax. That's totally okay too. So we want you to be seeing fewer clients so that you can have more space, fewer clients at higher rates so that you can afford to have that space. Then the marketing that you learn over here, particularly if you're learning the style of marketing that I teach in the marketing intensive, which is to be able to market beyond your state. So if you have learned that, it applies to any kind of side hustle. So you're being able to take your skills that you have as a therapist and turn those skills into profitable projects or, I don't know, I like that P and P there, products, right? And you're being able to take the marketing skills that you learned over here and apply it over here as well. So that there's just fewer things that you're having to learn as you're trying to get that side hustle up and running. The other piece that I think is important to share about that, and I want to not use these chats and only teach. I also want them to just be chats. I have to work on that. The other piece to keep in mind, now I've distracted myself, is this. So there are tons of people that have no degree in mental health at all who are teaching self-help, who are writing self-help books, who are on TikTok or YouTube teaching all sorts of self-help skills. And I think that the time is coming when consumers are wisening up to the fact that these folks are not mental health providers, maybe we should be getting this information from a mental health provider, and that's us. So there's no reason that we can't be putting digital products out there that are self-help oriented and help our people, that we can't be creating mini courses or workshops or guided 8-week courses or doing 4-hour intensives rather than weekly therapy. There's no reason that we can't be in that position. So there's a lot of opportunity for us to work around the potential of burning out by having a job that is just doing therapy all day, every day. And I think that's one of the really big benefits to a side hustle, even more than the income. It is the ability to kind of expand the way that we're helping folks and maybe not just get into a rut that will wear us down. And there's a very big difference in the emotional load that we experience when we're selling a digital worksheet versus sitting in 8 hours of sessions working with complex trauma, for example. Right, so we get to balance out the emotional load a little bit. So I'm going to pause and just look on our spaces and see what kinds of questions and comments you might have as we're talking. They're not coming through my software, so I don't know how that works. Okay. Oh, cool. So I can have them showing up over here. That's neat. That's a cool little trick on the software. If you're watching and you don't mind adding in a comment, even if it's just to say where you're tuning in from, that would be super helpful for me to just kind of play with the software a little bit. Today is Thursday. Thursday is usually my Friday. So it's the last working day of the week, sort of, kind of. So I picture my schedule like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are kind of the heavy lifting days. Monday and Friday are flex days. So they can be working on the business instead of in the business days. They can be like, wow, the weather is amazing. I think I want to go out on the boat days. And then we can push the work into Saturday or Sunday. So really the way that I organize my calendar, hey, Arkansas is in the house. What the heck is the weather like in Arkansas right now? Very, very curious. So we just drove back from Colorado. It's crazy. We were talking about this. So in the last 4 months, maybe 5 months, we've driven cross country and back twice, all the way from Southwest Florida to Colorado and back again. And we'll be doing it one more time this year. So it's wild to experience the range of weather across that drive. I just took the dogs for a walk yesterday and I was sweating in Florida. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like February and I'm sweating here. Whereas I was wearing a parka in Colorado just like a week ago. Icy in Arkansas. Oh, and thank you so check this out. Look, haha, how cool is that? So you can have your comments show up on the screen. That's so neat. This program is awesome. I really, really like it. So where did my caption go? Let's go back. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for hanging while I'm learning that. If you have questions or thoughts about online income, please do share. We're going to be hosting this style of kind of casual chat about online income for therapists. We're going to aim for weekly. But we will certainly be doing it every other week and probably once a month during holiday seasons. While I have folks on who might know a thing or two about this, while I was out west, 0 allergies, 0 headaches. I come back to Florida, and as we move south and east, the headaches begin. And it's, I think it's mostly atmospheric pressure changes, perhaps, because they get worse later in the day when we tend to get storms and things like that. But also, and you can hear it in my voice, the allergies. What the heck? So if you have allergy remedies, holler at your girl, because I need some help. So today I'm trying loratadine. That's how you say it. And guaifenesin, phenylephrine, and there was something else in it. I can't remember what the other thing was. It's just, I want to be able to talk without coughing. TC Long says, I had a full week of clients scheduled and the weather completely obliterated it. Really? So do you have an online practice where are you able to see those clients via telehealth, or have you lost power and you're not able to do that? You have some sessions later today and tomorrow. Yeah. So are you on telehealth yet? Do you need some help? We can help you out here. This is what we do. We help people to get their telehealth practices set up and then to see the coughing. Please, if you have suggestions, even prescription meds, I am willing to try because I don't think this stuff is cutting it. All right. It can be really kind of sketchy when your income goes from like, oh, I had seven sessions planned at $150 each, and then the whole day is gone. And a lot of times folks aren't able to reschedule. That's a big chunk of your income. Another great reason to diversify where you're getting your income from. So so that some things are staying consistent, right? So when I think about my business, I'm on a hiatus from therapeutic practice right now because I was growing the other side of my business, which is teaching courses, coaching, consulting, and that kind of stuff. And even in my business model, which was largely, okay, I'll catch you guys up on what TC said in just a moment. My business, which is largely guided courses to help people start their private practice and to help them grow their private practice into private pay, and then to help them to build income streams in that order outside of therapy. Um, Even in that business, because my model is live, most of it is like me needing to be present. If something happened to me, problem with the income stream, right? So on the back end this year, we're actually doing a lot of work to make things more what's called Evergreen. So pre-recorded and available to folks even when I can't run it live or they're not interested in running it live or going through it live. So that there are different ways that people can um, engage in the material and different ways that I can bring in income. We were just talking about this in my momentum group, which is a mastermind for folks who are moving away from insurance into private pay and creating space for a side hustle or just more relaxation. And we were talking about how in virtually every other kind of business, there's something called an ascension model where you have kind of a low ticket product at the bottom that you try to sell a lot of, like let's say a workbook or something like that. And then in the middle, you have it's called a foundational offer, the thing that you kind of get most of your income from, that you spend most of your time in. And it's kind of like a mid price sort of offer. And by mid price, in this model, and we have to adjust it for therapeutic stuff, but in this model, let's say your low ticket offer was $10, your mid ticket offer would be 10x that, so $100, and then your high ticket offer would be 1,000, or it could be 100, 1,000, 10,000, whatever the 10x would be, right? And then at the high level for a therapist, maybe it's intensives, right? So maybe you have workbooks that you sell that really relate to your flow client. You do therapy, right? That's your mid-tier offer. And then you do high ticket intensives, right? So there's your ascension model. And the beauty in that is it diversifies not only your life, so you're not bored out of your mind, but also, that sounded really bad. So you're not doing one thing all the time. Whatever, we get bored if we do one thing all the time. If you're an entrepreneur, you definitely do. But at the top of the model is something different. It's a different way of earning money. So then as the market changes, or if something changes in your life, you can think like, whew, I am really exhausted of the intensives. Let me put more effort into my digital products and let me raise my revenue in digital products so I can step back from intensives for a while. Or, wow, like I'm really burnt out on doing long-term therapy. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. I'm going to do some more intensives and I'm going to push on my digital products. It just gives us more flexibility. And my jammy jam is freedom, flexibility, and flow. So I really, really like that kind of model. So TC is saying I do telehealth if their insurance covers it. And a lot of my clients prefer face-to-face. And running to a telehealth appointment right now. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate that. And I appreciate that you entered your name so that I could see who was talking. I am curious about your experiences with telehealth coverage and insurance as the as the impetus on insurance companies goes down, the pandemic really forced insurance companies who weren't previously covering telehealth to kick it up. And so I've said, if you've heard me say this, just tune out for a minute. So here's what happened. What had happened was this: telehealth was covered by many insurance companies before the freaking pandemic, but a lot of people just didn't know. Therapists didn't know, clients didn't know. The pandemic hits, and the insurance companies that had not yet been covering it were like, uh-oh, we're going to need to cover this. And the federal government also pushed hard for them to cover it, right? So all of a sudden, all insurance is covering telehealth, and this crazy little thing happens. So just as we could have predicted, people loved telehealth. They're like, yes, please. Can I not leave my house and get my needs met? That sounds outstanding. So what we saw was the utilization of insurance for medical stuff skyrocketed. And behavioral health, that's us, skyrocketed the most. Out of anything else, utilization for therapy took off. Now, this is a problem for insurance companies because insurance companies who are for profit make their money from people paying their premiums, right? But then not needing medical intervention. That's how they make their cash. It's kind of like gambling. Well, all of a sudden, everybody was using up their benefits. And the insurance company was like, oh, we're not making as much profit as we were before. So what we're seeing is some telehealth companies began to pull back on their reimbursement for telehealth. And I'd love to know, like, anecdotally, what your experiences were with that, if you're having any trouble getting reimbursement for telehealth. I think overall, we're going to see that movement continue of insurance covering telehealth, but I do think we're seeing a little blip right now, because it was hard for them to make a profit when everybody started actually using their insurance benefits. What I think is really cool about that for us is that it showed us that there isn't this difficulty with too many therapists and not enough clients, which I think some of us had started to believe. No, Baba, Taco. Taco likes to bark. There's not that problem. There are many, 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 many more people who need telehealth than there are providers, or who need therapy than there are providers. There's just an issue with access, and telehealth began to fix that issue. So, long diatribe. All right, I don't see any more questions or comments. I'm going to share one last thing before we tune out. And I need to give credit to Christine Henry, who is in the marketing intensive. When I do these, if a car drives by 3 blocks away, Taco really feels concerned about our well-being, and he will begin to bark, right? So that can be really obnoxious for me and for you. So we've been looking for ways to fix it. And here's the deal. So Bella will also bark, but Bella has control over her barking. Like if I say no, she can stop. Taco can't. It's just reflexive for him, for his breed. And you can see him. He looks distressed. He's like, I don't want to be doing this, Mom, but I can't stop. So Christine Henry told me about this. It's called Pet Agree. And it makes a sound. I can't hear it, but apparently some humans can. And it makes a sound that the dogs can hear that we can't. I was concerned because I don't want them hearing a sound that is distressing to them. I don't want to frighten them. But neither one of them seemed distressed at all. They're just interested. They're like, what's that? What was that? And it breaks the reflexive reaction to bark. So I will say with Bella, 100% works all the time. If I click it, she's like, what are we doing? What's going on? Taco, I would say 60 to 70% of the time, which is a huge gift. So if you're looking for something, you can check this out. I will let you know if they start to act like they're distressed in any way, because I don't want to do that. The only caveat is this: it only works if they're in the room with me. So if I am doing a presentation, I bring them both into the room. I didn't this morning. I should bring them both into the room, and then this works. It doesn't seem to go through walls. So try it out if you have animals that are making noise during your therapy sessions, because it can be pretty distracting. I've heard many kind of funny stories about ways that it was distracting and ways that have helped clients, but that's neither here nor there. pet agree. And if you have other things at work, let us know because we all need help with this issue. All right, friends, I need to get ready. We are having our co-working time for those students who are in the marketing intensive. I teach on Tuesdays, and then on Thursdays, we implement, and I work with them for 2 hours to help them make sure that what they're learning, they're putting into practice in a way that will actually get them private pay clients. So I got to prep for that, and I will see you later. I will let you know as soon as we have kind of a time and day that we're going to routinely do these. But for the short run, I'm just going to pop in live when I'm available to do it, and we'll go from there. Yeah, thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. All right, friends, I will talk to you soon. I hope that you have a lovely weekend. If you guys